Hey guys, I know I've kind of been slacking on my commentary and also my story times. My computer literally unalived itself in the past month or so. If you want to help me kind of get that situated, on top of that, maybe replace the medicine because I was in a hurricane. I do have a GoFundMe that will be linked in the description box below. But we didn't come here to talk about that. I'll probably explain that in another video. But today I'm going to be talking about how I fell out with my cousin over an Uno game. Now, I know that you're probably hearing this and you're probably like, Sushi, at your big age, you fell out with somebody over an Uno game. Yes, but I'm only saying this because, technically, it wasn't even my fault. This is more so me just kind of putting it out there that I really my family knows I don't give a fuck. Like I am the queen of I don't give a fuck, and I am really queen of I'm standing on business. And I think my family is starting to finally realize that about me, which is in and of itself very funny and ironic to me in every capacity of the word. But let's get into today's story. So basically, I am the oldest of 7 grandkids in total on my maternal side. So Sushi has a whole bunch of nieces and nephews. But today we're only going to be talking about Sasha, Joy, and Quesadilla. Now I know it's pronounced Quesadilla, but my great aunt, thought that that boy's name was actually Quesadilla for the longest time ever, which was ironic, but no, we're gonna call him Quesadilla. So this story is gonna be around Sushi, Sasha, Joy, and Quesadilla. Please remember these names because they're gonna be very important as I'm talking throughout the story. These are all fake names for the sake of privacy. So basically, growing up, we played a lot of games, and I mean a lot of games. Mind you, on my maternal side of my family, everyone is pretty much either mixed and or black. They are mixed with something else and black. And I was raised predominantly in a kind of Asian-esque black kind of environment for the most part whenever I hung out with my family. And I'll tell you what though, being around my black side of my family is really funny. Like it's so hilarious because the only thing that we ever actually do is either play games, we chill out or whatever. By all intents and purposes, people call my family whitewashed. But I'll tell you what though, the true the true igotry of it all comes out when we're playing dominoes, blackjack, spades, and Uno. Like it is unmatched. It's ungodly how crazy it is when we play the games. So this story takes place around Barbenheimer. If you don't know what Barbenheimer is, essentially it was a point in time where a live action Barbie movie came out along with this post-apocalyptic kind of movie about bombs and nuclear shit. Yeah, basically around that time. It was literally almost a year or two ago, right? Yeah, I think it was almost a year or two ago that Barbenheimer came out. So, being the huge Barbie fans that my cousin and I were, we decided we were going to take our youngest cousin to go see Barbie. Now, because, we weren't going to be sexist or anything, and I don't know if my cousin Quesadilla liked Barbie, we went ahead and took him too. So at the time, I was working at a mattress place, which in and of itself will be its own series of story times. I got paid. I got a huge chunk of change because I made commission. So I had about a few hundred extra dollars to splurge. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take us to the Barbie movie. We're going to go on the opening week. I'm going to buy us a Barbie bucket, and it's going to be the full nines. We're going to have the time of our lives. So I go ahead and I'm preparing for all this to happen. But at the time, I wasn't going to be able to drive because my car had literally unalived itself. I kid you not, my car was just not reliable. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to have my cousin, who is, I think, if I'm 19 at the time, I think that she had just freshly turned 18 or was 17 about, yeah, something around that because we're a year and a half apart. So Sasha was going to drive us to the movies. I call Sasha when I wake up. Mind you, the night before, I was up really late trying to make us all custom Barbie shirts, a Barbie and Ken shirt for each and every one of us. But she ends up not answering. I end up calling her mom. Her mom doesn't answer. I'm talking to my mom saying, hey, we're about to miss the movie. I don't know if I can get my money back for, the stuff. But my mom Mama Sushi is kind of like, oh, don't worry about it. Y'all will be okay, whatever the case may be. Finally, an hour or two passes, and I know for a fact we're not making it to the movie. So I go ahead and cancel the tickets, and I say, you know what? They're still coming. Let's go out to eat. So my family loves to eat. I kid you not, like it's like king and queens of the big bags, okay? So we have a lot of like really cool like Chinese food buffet places or a lot of really cool places to eat because duh, it's Texas. We have a lot of places to eat cuz bitches love to eat up in here. So we go ahead and go to like this really cool place and we go out and eat and my cousins and I are talking and chatting it up. So, I didn't want the day to really end all that fast. So I went ahead and I said, hey, let's go shopping. And I take us to go to Five Below. If y'all know nothing about Five Below, basically it's a store where everything is $5 and up. I know they call it Five Below, but everything is $5 or more. Baby girl, I went up in there and I spent like $16 on some incense. Why? I don't know. But that shit was garbage. Garbage? Yeah, it was garbage. I'll never do that shit again. But yes, I will. But that's not the point. That's not the point. The thing is, this is where the story starts to pick up momentum. At this point, I let all the kids get like 3 items each. So literally, if it's Sasha, Joy, and it's also quesadilla, they got a whole bunch of shit. But here's where everything goes south, and this is where our story begins. Sasha picks up a game of Uno. The kids don't know what Uno is because when they were growing up, like I was in college or I was in high school, I hadn't really gone to any family functions or anything like that. And my cousins don't usually play with their siblings. So I'm just kind of like, they don't even know how to play Uno. Are you sure you want to buy this? And she's like, yeah, we can just teach them. And I was like, okay, bet. All right, bet. So I go ahead and pay for it when we go back to their house. Mind you, this is going to be very important. Sasha is driving us back to their house because my mom is taking my grandfather to a baseball game here in Houston. So we get to the house and we set everything up. And you guys know that there are several different ways to play Uno if you know nothing. Like, there are several different ways to play Uno. There is the black way, the white way, the other people of color way, and then there's the right way to play Uno. There is the right way to play Uno, the way that it was intended to be played. So and that's the universal means to play the game. That means that like there's different like ways that you can play it, and then like there's rules to those different ways that you can play it. So essentially what's happening here is I tell my cousin Sasha, hey, we're gonna teach them how to play the right way for a little bit. Me and her already get into a pretty heated argument because she's like, ain't nobody ever gonna play the right way. No one plays like that. And so like she's yelling at this point. I'm like, girl, like you need to pipe it down. Because I'm not gonna fight with you. I'm not gonna yell at you. Like, girl, get for real and get real fast. So at this point, what's happening is old girl ends up teaching them the black way first, where we just start at the person who's shuffling and then we just go clockwise. But then after I won like at least 2 rounds in a row, Sasha wasn't having it. Sasha was not having it. I already run 2 rounds in a row and the kids are still confused. So I said, okay, now we're going to teach them the right way to play. Now, at this point, the kids have kind of gotten an understanding of how to play the game, so I'm really proud of them for that. But here's where shit actually like gets hot and it hits the fan hard. Basically, I've already won like 3 games at this point. Now the kids are kind of like learning how to do their own thing, and eventually I put down a +4. And now the kids were working on a team, but now they're not anymore. Then Quesadilla drops a +4. Then Joy drops a +4. So if you can do basic math, you already know. Point blank period. Sasha about to have to draw some shit if Sasha can't make some fucking cards appear. And sadly enough, Sasha couldn't make no cards appear. So baby, Sasha was gonna have to draw all them cards. But as I'm over here laughing and the other kids are laughing and we're having a good time, Sasha is silent. Sasha literally erupts in a fit of fucking anger. Like you would have thought that I slapped this girl in the face and told her to give me her lunch money. That's how serious it was. You would have thought I told this girl, give me your lunch money right now, and I'm gonna kick your dog or something. And she throws her cards on the flipping floor. I kid you not, the kids are like in shock. They are completely shook right now. And no one has any words. And except for Sasha, because now Sasha is like, no, you guys are cheating. This is getting out of hand. Like, this is unacceptable or whatever. She's like, nah, bro, F out of here. I was like, oh, interesting. Interesting. Like, I don't understand. Like, what? So I'm thinking she's playing at this point. Like, I don't think this girl's being effing for real. But apparently, the bitch is for real. The girl is so for real. I was not taking that as serious. I should have been, though. I should have been. Because now, at this point, she's in a fit of rage. And so I'm like picking up the cards like that are on the thing and I'm showing her. Here's why this happened. Because it went from me, because I was the oldest. It started at the oldest this time. Then we went clockwise. And so it goes to my left based off of the orientation of where I was sitting at the table. So that means that the kids basically just whooped her shit and Joy almost won the game. Mind you, Joy is like 6 years old at this time, like maybe a little bit younger. Like she's just like 6 or 7 or whatever the fuck. And she almost whooped her sister's ass. With that little plus floor. I'm not gonna lie. The shit was lethal. And so at this point, she picks up her cards and frantically runs into her mom's room, which is on the ground floor, which is where we are. And she slams the door. And you can hear her cussing at her mother about this fucking game. Okay, so now this is the part of the story where I'm not willing to take no criticism here, even though as much criticism may be valid, but there's always something wrong with my cousins. Like, mental health is a huge topic in my family just in general, but my cousins actually have something wrong with them. Like, my cousin has these weird spouts where she'll just erupt into anger. And my aunt is okay, this is gonna sound bad, but my aunt's very neglectful when it comes to parenting. Like, the girl doesn't correct any of that behavior. She doesn't say anything about it. She doesn't really address it. And I'm just kind of like, oh my goodness, I already know exactly how this is gonna go. But I end up silently picking up my cards and I tell the kids, go ahead and go hang out, go find somewhere else to be, away from the situation, because my cousin is violent. But then again, I'm also violent. People in my family are violent. So I'm like, I don't want the kids to, the little kids to, get wrapped up in that. Because if I gotta beat their sister's ass, I'd hate to do it in front of them. I know that sounds so crazy to say out loud, but, I don't want to have to, beat her ass in front of them. And I say that because, mind you, I'm 5'8", and I lift. I've been lifting for the past, almost 8 years plus now. And my bench at the time of this, situation, my bench is almost 260. And I can deadlift almost 315 pounds. Whereas Sasha literally weighs maybe 120 pounds, soaking wet in the middle of winter with a trench coat on. And baby, either way, y'all already know I'm gonna mop the floor with this bitch if I gotta put my hands and my feet on her. So at this point, I silently pick up the cards and I go to my aunt's room and I'm like, bro, I'm talking to her, and me and my cousin are yelling over each other. So at this point, I'm just laughing my ass off because I'm like, there's no way you're getting serious about this. At your big age, you're over here mad about this game, and I gave you the option of whether or not you wanted to go first is beyond crazy to me. So now my aunt is literally on her phone playing a farm game and reading her book and listening to us argue with her. So at this point, I know that my aunt's not taking this serious. I'm not taking this serious, but this girl is obviously upset. So now this is where shit really gets crazy. And this is why I really don't fuck with her. And this is where shit hit the fan. What happens is she stops and lets me speak. I tell her, here are the cards, here's what happened, here's how the kids basically outplayed her. She hasn't won a game for the past 5 rounds. I get why she's frustrated, but to actually get to a point where you're pissed and yelling and basically throwing up outside the club is crazy as fuck to me. My aunt looks up at us and she's asking us questions. She was like, okay, so why didn't y'all play it like this? And I said, what we did. I even gave her the option to do this. She's like, no, you didn't. And so now my cousin's lying. In my house growing up, we were not allowed to call people liars or to say that you were a liar. Yeah, that was a hell no. But as I've gotten older and my grandmother passed away because she was the one who enforced that shit went out the fucking window because I don't give two shits. You're a liar, ho. You're a liar. And so now at this point, my cousin is like cussing and she just says, you know what, this is why no one likes you, and you're like, she basically goes off and like she's like talking about how like you think you're Little Miss Perfect, you think you know everything and you get everything. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, where the is this energy coming from? Where is this coming from? And so at this point I do kind of get a little hurt because I'm like, damn, I didn't know you felt like that for real. Like, I wanted to plan this whole outing with everybody today. I bought you a whole bunch of stuff. Like, at first, I didn't really care about, like, buying her stuff because, like, I wanted to do that. That was with my own money, whatever. I wanted to buy them things because I hadn't seen my cousins in so long. But it was more so about the fact that like every time I've ever told this story to like the handful of people that I've ever told this to, they always said like that doesn't make sense. Like how is it that she says that you get everything and that you're spoiled, but like this girl, if she has new McLarens, like if her mom, if she asks for thousands of dollars worth of shoes, she gets them. That's the crazy part. If you ask for thousands of dollars worth of shoes, you get them. Whereas me, I have to work my ass off to get everything I've ever had. And the only time I've ever gotten anything handed to me was because we were in a natural disaster and everything I ever owned. Like, it's a whole fiasco. But either way, that kind of stuck with me because she said she wanted to fight me. Mind you, again, the girl weighs about maybe 120, fucking wet with Tim's on in the middle of winter with a trench coat on. Like, bro. So at this point I said, I'm not gonna fight you and whoop your ass in your house. And she just like, you know what? I don't even care if you want to post up. And so like she leaves her mom's room trying to square up with me. And I said, I'm not gonna fight you. I'm just not gonna do it because we've already fought like several times growing up. And every time I have literally walked her like a dog. And I didn't feel like it. Like, mind you, I'm like 19. Probably I'm like going on 20. Bro, I'm not gonna fight you. You're weird. So at this point, I tell my aunt, I said, you're gonna allow for this? And so my aunt goes back. She's like, she doesn't even say anything. My aunt literally doesn't even say anything. I said, I bet. So at this point, I sit in their house because my cousin like runs up the stairs like this is a goddamn Disney movie and she just got told that she can't go to prom. This shit was hilarious. So at this point, I go ahead and I call an Uber and I walk like 5 blocks down the road to go catch my Uber. And by the time my mom gets home, Mama Sushi gets home, she is confused because at this point it's been almost 6 to 7 hours that I would have been gone. And no one said anything to her, nothing. She's like, what is going on? Like, and so at this point I get a little upset because I'm like, my almost decades worth of friendship and like me and my cousin are gone because at this point I have decided that I'm standing on business and I don't mess with her no more. Because if she feels like that about me and she let that shit off her chest for once in her life, that's so weird. And it's crazy because like my family at this point was kind of like they didn't know what to say or do because they just like they don't ever oppose her. Like she's that dramatic and that emotionally charged. Like they didn't say anything about it, they didn't clock her, nothing. But my mom wasn't gonna let that shit slide, so she got on her sister's ass. She was like, so let me get this straight, you let my daughter walk 5+ blocks out of your home almost 7 to 8 hours ago and didn't even check and see if she made it to her Uber. You didn't offer to drive her home, nothing. Like you never clocked your daughter for like that weird ass outburst she had is weird. And my mom and her sister got into it because as much as like some people are like, oh well you were 19 at the time, like you're an adult. Like mind you, my family is very like traditional in the sense that like they still view us as kids, but they still respect us enough as like adults. So like in my mom's eyes, you let my fucking my only child, my 19-year-old daughter, leave your home and you didn't even know she left until 6 or 7, 8 hours later. Like that's enough time to get to the fucking Mexican border from where we like that's enough time to be gone. And my mom was heated for like a long time about that shit. And to this day, I still don't fuck with my aunt. To this day, I still don't talk to my cousins. Like I talk to Quesadilla and Joy very often. I talk to them almost every single day of the summer. Joy constantly wants to find ways to hang out with me, and they kind of don't really remember why um sushi, or they call me Sui. Sometimes my cousins do call me, like, they call me Sushi sometimes, but like they don't understand why Sui and Sasha don't talk anymore. And it's kind of sad, but at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is. But that's for the most part why I'm standing on business and I don't talk to Uno cousin anymore. The whole altercation seems like very like low stakes. Like it just seems like nothing really happened. But it's like it up a lot of other stuff in my family, because like I refuse to go to family events if I have to see her, because I don't like the fact that like somebody in my family really thinks that way about me and they feel that way. You know what I mean? But that was the story of Uno cousin. The whole situation is so weird, it's so strange. It's completely put a strain on my family. But that's pretty much my whole story time. I guess the moral of the story here is, if family members say something about you, or they say something, or they show you who they are the first time, please believe them. It is never going to be worth your time or your energy to sit there and like bicker and fester with that. Stand on business. Also, I guess that you could say that, like, stand on business. But other than that, that was my story of Uno cousin, and like why, whatever. But if you want to see more story times or hear some more story times I frequently post some like behind the scenes videos and stuff on my Patreon that's about to come out, because I'm about to fully launch that, because it's actually already out. Also, I probably am going to start putting out more content on my TikTok page, but that's mostly for gaming. So if you fuck with Roblox and stuff, which is actually what I'm doing this design in this video for, then go ahead and mess with that and let me know in the comment section below if you've ever had to cut off a family member because, like, the way that they view you is just like completely unacceptable, and the way that they treat you is like out of pocket. Because I know this is not a very, very serious story, but it's a story nonetheless that like really impacted my family dynamic, mind you, because I've never lived more than 20 miles away from my cousins, and 20 miles is a big stretch. So it's like for us never to talk again, and like I'm about to be almost 21 in the next few months, and I haven't talked to them like almost in a year. But yeah, other than that, I'm gonna catch you guys on the flip side. Again, don't forget to hit up that comment section, don't forget that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys later. So don't fight, don't bite, and if you do, don't get caught, because I didn't tell you to do it. And if you tell somebody I told you to do it, I'm gonna lie on you and say that you're a liar. So anyways, I'm gonna catch you guys later. Bye.